Welcome back. I'm Amy. I'm a nutritional therapy practitioner. I'm also an NPC bikini and fit model competitor. And this is my reverse vlog week, whatever. We're not giving it numbers right now. So in the intro, I'm going to talk about the feedback I got from my coach and then also just some interaction that he and I had after, kind of doing some follow-up on the feedback that he gave me. Also in this video, I am going to include clips of my conversation or my podcast episode, whatever you want to call it, with Dave and Jackie of Blue Collar Bodybuilding last week. Last week's video I felt like was getting kind of long with all of the stuff that went on with my fast. If you missed that and want to hear how my 5-day fasting mimicking diet went, that's in last week's video. So I'm going to include some of those clips here. It was a great conversation. It's always fun, getting to talk bodybuilding with your bodybuilding besties is always great. So it was a really fun conversation. So let's talk about my feedback from my coach. So you remember in last week's video, I did ask Aaron to see if he could update my my lower focused mesocycle so that I was ready to go in a couple of weeks on that. And there was really not a whole lot else that I had to report last week on any of the other metrics. So he just said, everything was looking good, as that he was glad that the carbs were satiating and that it was helping with the recovery. Of course, I do still, yes, need to work on my vacuums and core work. And he said he would take a look at my workouts and add in the glute drive and also the pit shark or the belt shark or the belt squat. And that he liked doing RDLs on the belt squat, which is one of my favorite things to do. Love doing those. I had those programmed in with my last coach and I love them. Like I really, really love using the belt squat for a lot of things, but RDLs specifically, I really love doing on there. It's just a good setup, and also just there's just constant tension in a way that is unique. Let's put it that way, in a good way. So he said to kind of maybe give those a try, like some of those new things, and just, take a look at it and see how it went. That potentially we could look at, as we push into this lower meso, leveraging some carbs a little bit differently with maybe like some high, medium, and low days. And that was really it. He said, yeah, looks good here, great work. So I sent some feedback back to him. I looked at the workouts right away and I love them. They all look great. They look so good that I was like, I mean, as much as I enjoy the upper focused meso, it's fine. I really am like jonesing to get back to the lower meso. So I just sent him a little video note and said, I took a look at everything, and would it be okay if, rather than doing this final week of my upper meso, if I just went ahead and switched to the lower meso with the new workouts and kind of treated it like a primer week. So almost like a sort of deload, like where I didn't go super heavy on anything, but just really kind of got comfortable with all the new movements and get comfortable with the new flow of the workouts in the new gym and that kind of thing. And he responded that, yes, like go for it. Like no need to finish out the final week on the upper. Like go ahead and switch over, but definitely keep a few reps in reserve. Don't try and like hit it super hard. But with the, extra carbs that he added in last week, like definitely put some of those carbs to work on the lower meso. So that is exciting. I'm really looking forward to getting going on all of that. I'm actually going to write out all my workouts for the week today. I do start my workouts on Sunday so that I have one kind of flexible off day midweek if I need it, which really helps with work. Rather than having my rest days back to back, I do split them up, and that way I can have one as needed throughout the week if I have a day where I need to be to the office early, or like an early surgery, or just an especially busy clinic day where I kind of need all the extra energy I have to put toward focusing on work. So that's going to be really exciting. So that is really what I have coming up this week. I am going to share the new thing I try in the Ninja Creami with everybody. We'll see how it works. It's very different in theory. I think it will be great. We'll see how it turns out. My struggles with the Ninja Creami. I mean, it's fine, but I'm still trying to find creative ways to use it more often. So we'll see how this new recipe idea goes in the Ninja Creami. And yeah, that's all I've got for this week. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate you all for coming along for the ride for whatever the rest of this week brings. All right, so this was my first workout on my new updated lower mesocycle. I was so excited for this workout. Started off with a couple of sets of belt squat or pit shark RDLs. This was my first time using this piece of equipment at the gym. It is a Rogue setup, so I love that you didn't have to load the plates on the sides. The last gym I worked at that had a belt squat, it was like a more of a hinge belt squat, and the plates were loaded on either side. This one was great because the plates are loaded in front of you, so they don't get in the way at all of like range of motion, so you can have a super wide or a super narrow stance and the plates are never going to be a problem. Just kind of getting used to it with this first set. I did go a little bit heavier on the second set and definitely will continue to increase weight on this. Aaron, my coach, wanted me to keep things, you know, on the not light side, but on the doable side this week, just kind of getting in the swing of things with this new mezzo. This has got to be one of my all-time favorite exercises. Like just the ability of the range of motion and isolation, because the tension doesn't get any less at any point. So it keeps a constant tension throughout. And for me, I just find like it really allows me to get a really deep stretch on the glutes and a really good contraction coming back up. We did add straps for my second set just to take the grip out of it. You know, I wasn't going super heavy on these, but as I go up in weight, my grip would definitely be a limiting factor. One of the things I always try to think about when I'm doing, you know, an RDL, and I'm really trying to focus on my glutes and my hamstrings, but mostly on my glutes, is just to really kind of like, not just push my glutes back, but to kind of spread the fibers almost is what I'm thinking in my head, and then to contract them coming back up, just to really get like a good deep contraction on those glutes. The next exercise I moved on to was these deficit reverse lunges. So I have two plates actually underneath my foot. You can't tell from this how thick the bar is at the bottom of the Smith machine. This was my first time doing these. It's the first time I've had access to a Smith machine since they've been in my program. I would usually just sub them out for split squats, like a rear elevated split squat. And I like them. I know that my feedback from Aaron is absolutely going to be to like slow it down. My balance is a little bit of a challenge, even being able to hold onto the bar. You kind of see this Smith machine allows for a lot of movement. It's not like a fixed, like the bar is fixed to the rails, but the rails move back and forward and kind of, you know, around a lot. So it's not like I can like hang on to the bar for balance as much as you could on like a traditional Smith machine. But I did like these, and they were really challenging. I mean, even though like I said, I know he's gonna want me to slow down and not put so much pressure on that back foot, but man, even with that, like I felt like I was getting a good workout on these. They felt really good. The two things I didn't film, I forgot to mention that I didn't film my two first exercises of this workout. I didn't film my abductions. I just did a couple of sets on the abductor machine and a couple of sets of leg curls, seated leg curl. Those were kind of my two warm-up things I did before I started the RDLs. And I did do two sets of these. I just only filmed one set. This was my second set. I should have filmed the first set when I was a little fresher. And then after that, I had a couple of upper body exercises. I had pullovers. I was using the rope with these. I kind of go back and forth between using the rope and using the straight bar. It just kind of, I feel like they both work, but I get a little bit better engagement and range of motion when I use the ropes. I know it's hard to see because I'm wearing my hoodie, but got a really good stretch on these. And again, I did do two sets of these, but only filmed one. After that, I just had one set on the T-bar row, so my back was really warm, so I just did one set of, I think, 15 on these. And this was my first time using this T-bar. It was fine. I don't know how a shorter person would use this because the chest pad is not movable. So if you can't reach the handles from where you are, I mean, I felt like it was almost a little bit too much of a reach for me. And again, I'm as tall as most men. So for a short woman, I'm like, I don't know how they would use this, but I'm sure they find a way or just use something else. But I liked it. It felt good. I'm definitely gonna go, up in weight as I can. I was just kind of feeling it out with these today. And then finally, to finish off the workout, I had cable laterals. I did have 2 sets of these. This again was my final set of the workout. I like doing these from an incline bench because I feel like I can get a better full range of motion. It's hard to tell from this angle, but really going even kind of past the top or past the stopping point at the top. I just feels like it really gets a better engagement all the way throughout. And I need to grow my shoulders, so always good to do more shoulder work. That was it. That was my workout for the day. Alright, so I'm trying something that is either going to be awesome or awful. It is breakfast time. I am about to try to make overnight oats in the Ninja Creami. So yesterday morning, I put my 50 grams of oats that I had blended. I put 6 grams of chia seeds, 100 grams of almond milk, and then about 200 grams of water. I don't usually put almond milk in my oats in the morning. I just do water, but I felt like the Ninja Creami would need a little bit more creaminess. I also did a little sprinkle of salt, and I'm going to do a little bit of sugar-free syrup after I spin it the first time. So this was in the freezer overnight, and then I've had it out of the freezer for about a half hour because I didn't want it to be too hard and hurt my creamy. So let's give this a shot. Oh, and cinnamon. There's cinnamon in here as well. So I'm going to do it on we're going to call it a full, and I'm going to do it on the light ice cream. Here we go. This thing is so loud. I know I say that every time I use it, but I'm still somewhat shocked by just how loud it is. So let's take a look. So as I expected, it is exceedingly powdery. It's very, very powdery. Or icy, I should say. Icy. I'm going to give it a little bit of a scrape down. Powdery all the way through. You might be wondering why I did not put my protein powder in here also, because I wasn't sure this would be good and I didn't want to ruin my protein powder or waste it if it was not good. Oats are pretty cheap. All right, so I'm going to put my sugar-free syrup in the middle and give it a respin. she's done. All right. Still pretty icy, but better. It is pretty icy. The bottom is a little thick. Definitely needs at least one more respin. Why do I feel like I've been lied to that this works? Oh, I'm making a mess. All right. I think I'm going to add a touch of almond milk because this is really powdery. Just all kinds of messy. Little splash of milk. We're gonna give it one more spin and then we're gonna give up on it. Oh, that's better. That is definitively better. Still very icy, but better. It's thick and creamy. I mean, that is some thick stuff. Let's try it. I had this thought as this thing was processing, like, why did I want to do this? I'm not a huge fan of being cold, and warm oats are delicious. They're really stuck at the bottom there. I think it would benefit from one more spin, but let's try it. I mean, I don't hate it. It's kind of weird, but I don't hate it. I'll give it one more respin and see if I'm going to eat this. All right, I have a good feeling about this. It looks better. It seems smoother. Oh yeah, way better. Okay. That's much better. Much better. So it took 5 or 6 spins to get to this place, but it looks good. Let's give it another try. I'm not gonna lie, it tastes like icy oats. Would it be good on a hot day and just different to mix it up? I mean, if you had other mix-ins in here, and again, it's like not very sweet. I should have put some stevia or something in it, or some vanilla. But it did work. It is creamy. It is oaty. I mean, it tastes like frozen oats. I don't know how else to say it. It tastes like frozen oats, but I'm gonna eat it because I don't have time to make hot oatmeal now that I spent all this time messing around with the Ninja Creamy oatmeal. So yeah. If you want to give this a try, I guess I recommend it. Yeah, it's not the worst. It's edible.
No, I meant to, so we wanted to also talk to you about, you just came off a show not too long ago. How long has it been since you came off, because you switched from Bikini for the fit model division, and how long ago was
Yeah.
that?
It's been just over 5 weeks. So it was 5 weeks. So 5 weeks and 2 days, essentially, at this point. So it has, yeah, it was an interesting interesting thing to do. I
Mhm.
don't know if I want to continue on in fit model or not. It's, kind of watching how it's evolved, especially with yesterday, with the first two pro cards, US pro cards being given out to
Yeah.
kind of see how the division is looking.
Mhm.
I missed a lot of the more glammy fun side of bikini.
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, it's kind of tough, like when I found a category that I potentially could never be muscled enough for, even with like, especially at my age, like I would need probably a lot of assistance to be anywhere near competitive, even as a master bikini competitor,
Yeah.
just to add that kind of muscle that I need. So it's,
Well,
yeah,
it doesn't help with your structure. You got height, and that kind of fights everybody, guys and women in their divisions too. When you have such a long frame, and you have these long muscle bellies,
Lengthy
they're hard.
arms, yeah.
Yeah, they're hard to fill out. You can add a ton of size and scale weight, and sometimes it doesn't translate till you really get tacking up on the weight. So we went to what was it, the Cutler Classic in Boston,
Yeah.
probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. We had a few competitors that we coached competing, and we got to see Fit Model for ourselves. And surprisingly, it was exactly kind of what I had imagined. Like it wasn't like necessarily an entry level division as much as they were definitely looking for a certain look. They wanted a little bit, it looked like they were awarding a little bit more of softness, not like this hard, shredded kind of look. Because some of these bikini girls, they get really thinned out. They get really kind of paper thin skin. They do have a level of conditioning that's impressive that gets awarded. So I was kind of surprised because I thought they were going to go for maybe like a shape of like a fitness model that you would see and it just seemed like they were looking for a different type of bikini look. So
Yeah,
um,
definitely. That your turnout of 9 girls, that's actually a lot. I think we only saw like four at
yeah,
the
yeah,
show we were at.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
But it's
Well, and
interesting.
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say it was interesting to see kind of like the step of because it didn't seem like they were um, going to hold people back from being too conditioned. They still wanted a fit look. It wasn't
yeah.
like because at first I was thinking, well, everybody's going to sign up for this division just to get into the competition field, right?
Mm.
And it wasn't. It was actually quite competitive and it looked good. And it by the time we saw who they awarded as the winner, I was like, that's exactly what I thought
It
fit
was
model.
obvious.
Yeah, it was kind of obvious to a point. Now, again, there was a handful of girls to kind of look through. It wasn't like a huge amount of girls to kind of pick through, but I thought it was interesting. I thought it was definitely a little bit softer, a little less conditioning, but the shape and everything kind of translated like bikini to a point.
Yeah, just they had more of a juicy look.
Mhm.
Yes, I think that's very much it. Like it's a fuller look for
Yeah.
sure. And I think part of it too, I mean, for those of us who have been following the sport for so long, it really is reminiscent of what bikini started out as, especially like 10 to 12 years ago. So in that sense, like that shape and that kind of like fuller lower body, I
Yeah,
also think the posing kind of accentuates that.
yeah,
Just
Yeah.
I mean, be like doing both poses, like it's so tough because I'm so used to looking at myself in my bikini poses. So to me, they look far more flattering. Whereas in the fit model pose, like I'm like, wow, this is really unflattering. But it's just getting used to it and like seeing it more. I definitely started to warm up to like, okay, like I do see how this kind of can accentuate that kind of S curve, show off the physique in a different way. You do have to have just it's a different kind of like twist and arch of the hips.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually, Jackie, that brings up an interesting question for you. So now that you're going to, with your pro debut, you get a much longer amount of time to pose.
Yeah.
Like, that seems like it would be kind of intimidating at first, just because you get so used to being so quick in the NPC.
Right.
But then when you go to the IFBB, you get like a minute, right? I think you get
I
like
mean,
45
honestly,
seconds.
when I watch the shows, it seems like they give them whatever they kind of want, as long as it's not too long. You know what I mean? Um, every girl kind of mixes it up a little bit, and I already have it down what I'm going to be doing. My I'll have to send you the video of what I do, but I mainly when I first come out, I show my back and I kind of do this arm thing on both sides, and then I bring them down. I go into a huh?
Is it this video?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But I go into a lat spread, and then I turn
Ooh,
around and I come out and I do the routine.
nice.
So yeah, adding that little bit of flavor is always nice. So I'm excited
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, I just thought that I hope that they don't transition this fit model into a conditioning competition. Because part of bikini is still become a conditioning competition, but you got to have the God's gift of that structure, that shape, and that silhouette. You need to be able to turn the lights off and be able to go, that's a bikini girl. Just like you can see a silhouette of a figure girl and you go, that's figure. You know,
I didn't get great feedback. And of course, it was the first time the judges at my show were judging that category. So the feedback was good in what I got, but it didn't really help me have a better feel for like if it was a good fit for me overall, because some of my other feedback was more of a glaring issue regardless of the category that I would have been in. So I don't feel like I got clear direction in that sense. And then kind of watching it play out, I'm like, I I don't know. I would rather get super lean and enjoy
Yeah.
my day.
Yeah.
I
Well,
get that.
well, take it from my perspective, right? As a male competitor in bodybuilding, there's just a lot of growing involved, period. Even when you think you're big enough or you actually like, like last year I put on when I stepped on stage 19 pounds of stage weight. It was an excellent off
Wow.
season. But it still was put me at the bottom of the heavyweights. So
Mm.
you look at it and you go, well, you got to do that for, if you're lucky, for another 2 or 3 years to even become competitive on a national level and have a chance at a pro card, whether that's through the Open, through the Masters. So, but I also look at it like what I can do is, even if I'm not an easy person to grow, even though luckily I do a pretty good job at that, is I can just continue to improve on the things they're asking for. So someone like yourself, I wouldn't let it discourage you. If you want to do bikini, all you can do is continue to work on the things they're asking for and showing that these improvements are made, and you will catch people off guard many of times. Your conditioning is stand out. Sometimes it seems like I've seen you already where it's like, anymore, Amy, you're going to be too conditioned for bikini. It can hurt you for sure. And
Yeah.
it can hurt the look because you still have to have a certain amount of fullness you're presenting too. Especially with you girls on your side shots, you have to have the glute come out. You have to have some sort of size to the side leg and stuff like that. So I wouldn't let it discourage you too much. If you want to do bikini, just that's bodybuilding. So try to be a little more uncomfortable. That's kind of the beauty of what this is. We push things a little bit to the extreme, and then we find something out about us. We find out how resilient we truly were,
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Getting uncomfortable is just going to make you better.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
when we're in our off season, you think we want to be the weight we are, putting on clothes, and I'm like ripping holes in my freaking armpit area. Like, I'm like, that sucks.
I know.
yeah. No,
But
I just this week, because I am like my weight is higher than it's been in years. And so my clothes are none of them fit. So I'm like, you know what? I need to like part of this mental component was like, why am I trying to force myself into clothes that don't fit me? Like whatever. Like these are my off-season clothes and they don't fit this off-season. So like I ordered new workout shorts because, I think to me that to that point, like it's more important that I feel good. And if I'm every day when I get dressed for the gym, if I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm about to explode out of these
Yeah.
leggings, like that doesn't feel good.
No.
Right.
So you're making those steps that way. And like I have, the sitting with the discomfort is definitely something I've done, especially the last few weeks as I have really tried to push it up. And like it's true, it's part of it, but man, it like there's a benefit. Like I've kind of given myself some grace in that like, look, I'm sitting with this discomfort and I'm really trying hard not to fight it. I'm not over cardioing it. I'm not trying to do extra workouts. I'm not cutting my food back. Like doing those things that I know are kind of keeping me right up against that edge of being uncomfortable, but then also doing things that can help, like getting bigger workout pants, like just
yeah,
Yeah.
like it's fine.
yeah, exactly. That's part of the process, And I mean, you get mentally stronger over it.
Yeah.
It always cracks me up when we're in off season and our last meal of the night when we're going to go brush our teeth after we eat. And we're looking in the mirror and we're both like, we're turtle shelling right now. It's so funny.
Like, do you think that sometimes you self-sabotage? I know I have. Like, I've self-sabotaged on a prep saying, I haven't dropped the weight I was supposed to, so I'm going to do extra cardio. And then I'm just fighting against myself the whole time. The whole 2 steps forward, 1 step back scenario when I should be getting 2 every time. Do you ever experience that, or either of you?
Well, I mean, that I used to. I honestly, I don't let the scale bother me whatsoever anymore. If anything, I just get, if I'm trying to push weight up and it's still not going up, I'm like, what the F?
Yeah.
That frustrates me. It doesn't mentally F with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it used to when I was like skinny and everything. And I was, I would get a little uneasy with putting on some weight here and there. It was a challenge, but
Yeah.
um,
Because we
yeah,
correlate the scale to like progress too much.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do, it's fully mirror at this point for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
What do you think, Amy?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely can have struggles with the scale, not from it not going down. I think more so I like to look at the trend. So if I see a trend over the course of a week, that's when I start to panic. Like, oh, like daily fluctuations I'm good with, but if it's like a 3-day plus change that isn't going the direction that I feel like it should be going, that's when it starts to kind of mess with me. But even then, I try really hard to always look at the full week and do the average weight for the week.
Hmm.
That's something that really helps. If that weight is again not going the right direction, I mean, it depends on how deep into prep you are, whether or not that's going to be super panic inducing. But I do try to look at other measurements as well, like actually taking physical measurements and going based on how things fit.
right.
But
Yeah.
it's more of a struggle seeing it go up, even when I know that like it needs to. I think it's more the undulations up are not as scary as the undulations down.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm like the total opposite. Because where I come from, being so small, I would push so hard to get the scale to go up and grow. So when I was leaning out, I hated the scale going down because I felt like my progress was just going down the
Yeah.
drain. And it's not the case, but like, yeah, so that would be the one part that would mess with me the most,
Yeah.
but it doesn't any longer.
Yeah. I've never gotten so convinced that at this point, like people like Justin Harris are right. The scale is just the smallest part of the variables that we can kind of look at to use as like a judgment of progress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be fun.
It would be fun to be like a team tan, like not having to be tan all by yourself.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
so funny. I'll be the only pale one. Maybe I'll just throw a spray tan on to blend in.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, you kind of have to, right?
I know, right?
Just
Yeah.
so you don't look weird in the pictures.
So funny.
One of these things is not like the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't want to be tan because I'm going to be the only one out of shape. I don't need people thinking I'm out of shape.
So you can just tell everyone you're a physique competitor at that
I was
point.
gonna say, tell everyone you're a fit model competitor. They'll believe you.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, everybody, appreciate those that joined and watched. And Amy, we appreciate it big time.
Yeah, thanks, Amy.
Thank you guys so much. Virtual hugs.
I know.
There you go.
Virtual hug.
And we're back. It is the end of the week. It is time to talk about my check-in from the week and also just kind of recap all of the goings on of this week of my improvement season. So I hope you guys enjoyed the clips from my conversation with Dave and Jackie on the Blue Collar Bodybuilding podcast or on their Blue Collar Bodybuilding channel. They put out great content and it's always just so much fun to get to hang out and talk bodybuilding. We were on for about an hour and, Dave is really good about cutting it off at an hour, because they've got meals to get in and other stuff to do, but I could have talked to them forever. It flew by. So if you didn't catch the whole thing, definitely head over to their channel and watch the entire hour-long video. But it was a great conversation. So it was a lot of fun. All right, let's talk about my check-in from the week. So this is the check-in form that I sent to Erin. I'll throw up my progress pictures here. Ooh, she's getting thick. I'm in my thick girl era. All right, so first question is about issues with meals or digestive issues. I said nothing new or different. My SIBO protocol supplements will be arriving next week. I will keep you posted on how that goes. So yep, I'm still, my digestion is fine, but I definitely have identified some things that need to be addressed and adjusted. And again, I am working with a nutritional therapy practitioner whom I trust. I guess you could say I'm self-diagnosing, but I'm not. So just because this is what I'm doing does not mean you should do this, but I'll be happy to answer any questions. And of course, I'll talk about it more when it gets here and kind of how that goes. So that's the update for now. How do you feel overall well-being? I said I feel good, thicker than a Snicker. I am feeling thick. I'm really hoping that some of this weight is muscle. It feels and looks like it might be, but it could also just be fat. Won't know for sure until I cut again. So that is always the challenge, right? You feel like you're putting on a ton of muscle or you're putting on, size, but then you cut and you find out it was all just fat and it all goes away. So that is what I'm hoping does not happen. It definitely feels like fullness, but I also am a lot softer. So just kind of lifting as hard and as heavy as I can and hoping and praying that some of this fat or some of this weight is muscle and it's not all just fat. Some fat is fine. How's my recovery going and what week of the mesocycle I'm in? So it was my first week of the new revised lower mesocycle. I am loving it. I talk more about that later. I said definitely some soreness in my legs, but all resolved by my next workout. So this lower focused meso is exactly what it sounds like. It is lower focused. So I have some version of leg and glute exercises on every single workout and like one accessory movement-ish, 1 to 2, that is like an upper body movement of some sort, maybe some arms, some shoulders a few times a week, a little bit of back. Like today my workout had one other exercise that was not legs, it was just V-grip pull downs. Just a couple of sets. So it is legs, 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 and my legs were feeling it the first couple of days. Just with all the new exercises I'm putting in, and I'll try and get some footage of some of them as I get more comfortable on some of the machines, like the pendulum squat. Oh my goodness, I haven't done a pendulum squat in forever. It's been so long since I worked out at a gym that had a pendulum, and it's the craziest feeling. Like if you know when you do a pendulum, it's almost like being on some type of weird amusement park ride because at the bottom of the movement, like you're laying completely flat, but then you push you come back up. So it feels great to start using those machines and the hack squat, and just in general to be having a lot of fun equipment to use. And of course, all the belt squat variations I love, love those. I did get some feedback from Aaron on the belt squat that I showed, the RDLs. He wants me to be bending my knees more. So I'm actually going to record a new version when I do that workout on Sunday and send it to him to see if he approves of the adjustments. So what I did, and I'll talk about this in next week's video, was just instead of using that V bar, I just used a straight bar so I can get a little more range of motion, because I am limited somewhat, by how deep I can go with the range of motion that the machine allows. More to come on that next week. All resolved by the next workout. So no real lingering soreness, just some like day of kind of like, oh yeah, my legs are feeling it kind of soreness. Any exercise I'm having issues with? None yet. Anything else I should know? I said, as noted above, my SIBO protocol supplements will be arriving next week. It is a very comprehensive program that I will run for a few months, and it has a very high success rate. I would like to consider, oh, that was the end. This app doesn't break apart paragraphs. So even though when I put it in like separate paragraphs, it just runs it all into one giant sentence. So yes, the protocol has 2 phases. The first phase is 30 days. And so I will run that for 30 days. As long as I feel like I'm ready, I'll go on to stage 2. I did order both right now. And I typically recommend that people do at least 1 to 3 cycles of stage 2 after they finish the phase 1. I just ordered 1 of each kit for now to just kind of see if I need to do any adjustments along the way. So that's why I say for several months, because the first kit is a 30-day supply and the second kit is a 3-month supply, but I may need to run it more than once for maintenance, just to kind of see how things go. The next paragraph that I wrote to him, I'm going to keep between he and I for now, but it is something I will definitely talk about after he and I talk about it. So more to come on that one. Weight, blood pressure, water, sticking to the diet, quality of sleep, recovery. Put quality of sleep and recovery both as 8s this week. I've had good sleep and my recovery has felt good. Energy I put as a 7. I think last week I maybe put it as a 6. But it does feel better. I still just feel like maybe it's because I have been so genuinely busy. By the end of the day, I've been feeling more tired than usual. But it also, I think, is just because I have been very busy and have been kind of rearranging some stuff in the office when I'm not seeing patients, and building some furniture and doing some other things that have just had some additional output. So there's a little bit more tired this week. Digestion, I put as an 8. It is fine. Like I said, I'm working through some stuff, but my digestion itself is fine. Stress, I just put as a 5, normal. Hunger, same thing, 4 to 5, normal. My glucose levels, steps, any supplement information. So yes, I do have an update in this box, which is new and different. So I started low-dose naltrexone yesterday. It's shown some pretty, I wrote pretty, some pretty results. I think what I probably meant to say was pretty good results for people with SIBO and IBS symptoms. I'm taking an extremely low dose and will ramp up very slowly if tolerated. So low-dose naltrexone, you guys may have heard of naltrexone. We actually talked about it on the anabolic bodybuilding last week. I'll link that there. So it is used for people who are struggling with addiction, because it blocks the opioid receptors in the brain so that they don't get the same high or same buzz out of whatever their addictive substance is. But that's when it's used at a very high dose, so around 50 milligrams typically. Low-dose naltrexone is used in a variety of applications, primarily to address things like inflammation, pain for some people. There's a prescription version that is, and the version I'm taking is a prescription as prescribed by a medical doctor. You can get a broadly available weight loss medication that is called Contrave, and it is a blend of bupropion and low-dose naltrexone. So it works somewhat on the reward centers of the brain, but they've also found that it can help people who are struggling with motility issues in the gut. So I've done a lot of research about it for a long time, and it's something that I have always considered in the past. I've never had a patient who was wanting to try it or wanting to pursue it further. And like I said, they would need to get it through their physician. But as I've done so much research on it and have always been really impressed with what I've seen, and there's really not a downside to it. And again, we're talking tiny, tiny dosages. Like I started out with 0.75, so a little itty bitty microdose, and just to kind of see if it does potentially help with some of the gut issues that I'm having as I kind of work to resolve all of them. So excited to add that in. So far I've had no side effects. One of the main side effects that people can have from it is extremely vivid dreams. But I think at the dosage I'm on, I'd be shocked if I felt any difference because it is so low. But it's important to ramp up slowly because you don't want to have, negative side effects or other issues. So the input I've gotten from a lot of my friends who I know who have used it, that's definitely the advice they've given. Like, don't titrate up too quickly and definitely take it at night. So that's what I've done so far. That's the only update there. Sleep routine is the same. Personal goals for the week, I put number 1, vacuums and core control, and number 2, time management. I've had a lot going on the last couple of weeks, and I just feel like my days just get away from me. I'm not that I'm not busy the entire day, but man, they just are flying by. So being better about making sure I get done the things I need to get done in my very busy days. Pumps within training sessions and the workload, I put both of those as a 6. The workload is definitely higher, but it still feels very, very doable and recoverable with the new mesocycle. But definitely, more than the upper sessions for sure, which I love. I feel like I'm actually getting like really good workouts. Pumps, I'm not a person who like feels the need to have these like crazy pumps, especially when you're working legs. I mean, like, do I get a good quad pump? Like, yeah, but I'm not a pump chaser either. So to me, getting 6 is like a good workout. Like, I'm not in pain. I'm not having like terrible, painful pumps. It's just like good blood flow to the muscle. They feel nice and full and still can continue to work out. Anything else you should know about training? I said I'm absolutely loving the new lower focused meso. Everything is feeling really good. And it's great to get back to feeling like I'm able to get a really good workout with all of the equipment at this gym. I was actually thinking about that when I was doing one of the leg sessions this week. I'm like, man, I was making do with literally just 2 pieces of leg equipment. So just the leg press that the gym had, and then the combo seated leg curl seated extension. So it's really great to have a lot more variety, and I feel like I'm getting just much, much higher quality workouts, which is good. Sleep score was an 86 this week, and then my HRV and resting heart rate. My resting heart rate was 51 average, and my HRV was the average of 48. And then pictures, and that's it. So that was my check-in with my coach this week. We'll see what he gives me for feedback. And like I said, there is something I talked to him about that I'm keeping just between us for now, but I will absolutely share if something comes of it. We shall see. So yeah, that's all I've got for this week. Oh, you know what I didn't talk about was how my very, very belated birthday dinner went. I actually didn't take any pictures because we were both just so engrossed in the food and the conversation, and just before you know it, all the food is gone and you didn't take any pictures. And shocking, you still ate a good meal. I am a terrible influencer, but it was really fun and just incredible sushi. There is a place here in Denver, and it is a small chain. It's called Uchi, and it is the best sushi I've ever had. And I have had, I've eaten at Matsu restaurants or Morimoto, the Matsuhishi restaurants, and those are incredible. But to me, Uchi is better. It's sushi, but it's also like traditional Japanese style dishes, and just the flavor combinations and the quality is out of this world. So it was fantastic. It was a really lovely belated birthday. I don't even care. Like I'd pretend it was my birthday at once a month to get to go there. As long as I wasn't aging a year every month, that would be terrible. But it was really good and really fun, and I'm glad we got to get that in before, next year. Yeah, so that was all great. This coming week, so far, I don't really have anything coming up. It's the holiday week. So I'm sure most people have plans of some sort, but I don't, which is actually great. I'm going to enjoy a day off, hopefully. I say that because I feel like it never comes to fruition, even on a holiday most times, but hopefully you guys all got a day off and enjoyed some time with friends and family, maybe some fireworks, some other fun cookout kind of start of summer things. Cannot believe that we're in June. Oh, wow. Where is the time going? So until we see each other next week, please, 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 wherever you are, spread positivity and light to yourself and everyone around you. You are worthy. You deserve it. I appreciate you. I appreciate every single one of you for being here. And if you make it to the end of these videos, I appreciate you even more because attention spans being what they are and my rambling, I'm sure people click off. But if you have any questions, comments, feedback, please leave those in the comment section below. And I will see you all here next time.